have Ashley Krug joining us once again from the city's Environmental Services. Ashley, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And today we are talking about recycling once again, and more specifically about clothing and what to do with that, if it is recyclable and all that. So what are some things we should know about clothing?
So clothing is one of those things, and we call it a hard to recycle material because a lot of times people don't know what to do with it. And clothing is a huge problem, not only in the recycling industry, but really just in the waste industry in general. So one of the things that shocked me was that we are throwing, just you and I both, throwing away about 70 pounds of clothing every single year, which feels like a lot, right?
Yeah, so each person, 70 pounds per year. That's how much clothes we're just getting out of the closet every year.
Absolutely. Getting new stuff, taking and putting other stuff, and lots of times it's not being recycled. So about 85% of that is ending up in our landfill. And here in Springfield, we're doing an okay job with like those textile items ending up in the landfill, but we really want to encourage people to recycle and to reduce that clothing.
Because here in Springfield, you said about 3% of the landfill is clothing and textiles. And even though that seems like a small number, 3%, it's still a lot to end up at the landfill because they're tanglers too, right? If they end up in the equipment.
It's a tangler for recycling processes, but also it's just something that can often have another usable life. And so we really want to be encouraging that how can you make this last a little bit longer? So I want you to think about clothing in two separate categories. You have clothing that is still usable. So you've got something that maybe you're not going to wear anymore, but someone might be able to. And then you also have those textiles that have definitely reached the end of their life for use as a wearing item. But there's still life of where that can go in the future. And so when we're thinking about these things, those usable items, we want to make sure that those are going to someone who might be able to wear it again. So donation centers, some thrift stores that we have, as well as just opportunities even to resell. That's a really big market right now online if you're not wanting to get out and go places. And for those items that we're thinking about that maybe you're not going to wear again, or for me, like if I find the one sock and I'm never going to find that second sock, there still is a recycling option. And so one of the things we wanted to talk a little bit about is our Think Big Foundation here inside Springfield. So lots of people know that you can put inside those big purple bins, you can put clothing, but lots of people don't want to put those like stained t-shirts or whatever, and they do accept those. Those are actually, they have a whole market that those can go into and be repurposed. And so what those are often used for is in manufacturing processes so that they can use them for things like insulation or even making new fabric pieces. And so really thinking about there's not just an end that you need to be throwing those items in the trash can, but instead making sure we're trying to recycle them.
So the Think Big purple boxes that we see driving around, we can drop off items that we feel could be reused, that someone else could use, but also items that have reached the end of their lives that you think, okay, this is not good for anyone, but they will go towards something if we drop them off in those boxes.
Absolutely. They like to say that they will take clothing in any condition. Okay. What we do want to remember is that we're never going to put wet clothing in any of the boxes around downtown, and we also would like to bag that clothing because someone has to go in and pull all of that out of any of those bins. So if you can bag the items that you're putting in there, that's going to make it easier for them to remove those.
All right, sounds good. Ashley Krug with the city's Environmental Services. Thank you so much for all of those tips and for being here with us.
Absolutely, thank you.
And as always, everything that Ashley talked about will be on our website, ozarksfirst.com, and we'll be right back with more right here on Daybreak.